94 Rocks The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark. And tonight, we have a band that's out of the Florida area, and we've been playing their latest song called Think Again. The band is called Out of Darkness, and I'm on the phone right now talking with their drummer and also, I believe, one of the founding members of this band, that being Brent "Deadly" Smedley. And how you doing, Brent? Things going well?
Going good, man. Great, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you're down in Florida, right?
Yep, Jacksonville, Florida.
All right, so we're having like an early heat wave up here for Minnesota, and for us Minnesotans, you know, we back in May and even into April, you know, it was barely like 40 degrees, and all of a sudden it's like 90 plus degrees. Humidity is like at 70. It's just a nightmare. So we're trying to get used to it. What's it like down in Florida? And you're probably a seasoned veteran when it comes to heat and humidity, aren't you?
Yep, it's hot and hotter. It's upper 90s, even into 100 degrees some days.
Did you get a chance? Did you get a chance to go out by the beach at all, or not?
Yeah, I love the beach, man.
What's the fun thing to do at the beach?
Swim, look around at the ladies.
I was just going to say, people watching, right?
Yep.
We have over 10,000 lakes up here, but half of them you can't even get to because, you know, they're in the middle of nowhere. So, but anyway, it's kind of cool to be on the beach, I suppose. And, you know, I guess I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about this band, Out of Darkness, which we've been spinning your latest song. And before we get into the latest song and that, why don't you give me the history, I guess, of the band? How did the band all come about, Brent?
Well, I had an extended break from what I had been doing, and for years I had wanted to start a band of my own that I had some ownership and control and, you know, creative decisions I could make in. And I got with a longtime friend of mine, the manager of the band, Rich Brown, and I talked to him and expressed that desire to, you know, want to start my own band. And so he got on the case scouting for talent because, I mean, I did it from scratch. I didn't have anybody else in mind or anything, and we found the singer and chief songwriter, Eric Barrios. We found him online. He was just doing some cover tunes and some kind of funny videos and whatnot. And he did a song that's actually on our record called I Surrender. And when I heard his talent and ability, I was like, man, I really think we can do something with this guy. So he was down in South Florida, so he wasn't too far away. He came up to a jam night one night, and we just kind of, our chemistry hit it off. We got up and played some Maiden and Judas Priest and Black Sabbath and stuff like that. And, you know, we just seemed to really hit it off. We kind of took it from there, started putting the songs together, and a few months later, we were in the studio, you know, really getting things rolling.
You know, if I remember right, doing some reading here, you guys really just started this band a couple of years ago. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I met Eric at the very end of 2019.
Okay.
I think it was December even. So
this was pre-pandemic, and you didn't have much time, and then all of a sudden a pandemic happens. I guess, how did that maybe change things of what you were hoping to do with this band?
Well, it delayed the live shows for sure. We had just started recording. We did the drum tracks one weekend, and then right after that, everything shut down for a little while.
Crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, you know, something out of a science fiction movie or something. I've never lived through anything like that. It's still kind of strange to me to see people wearing masks and stuff like that.
Right. Now, let's talk about you, I guess. You were with the band, or Iced Earth, and how long were you with that band? And then also, how long, I guess, you've been in the music industry?
I started playing with Iced Earth originally in 1996.
Okay.
And I played with them off and on since then, probably for a total of about 18, 20 years.
So you've been around for a while.
Yeah, I played my first show, I want to say, in 1985, 86. I started performing live, did my first recording in 87.
So let me ask.
What's that?
I was going to say, let me ask them, what is it like for playing back in the 80s to now playing in today? What have you noticed as some of the biggest differences in the music world?
Well, there's a lot more bands now. when I was growing up, there was maybe 100 bands that people were really into. Now there seems to be thousands of bands. I mean, you look at these big festivals, and there'll be 100 band names on the flyer, and you recognize maybe 10 of them, and these other bands, it's like, man, who are these guys? There's so many new bands. There's bands coming out all the time. I mean, in a way, that's great because there's so much music, and, you know, a lot of them are really good, very talented, but it's a lot harder to break in now. It seemed like one of the main differences is when I first started playing, it was kind of really unique and special to be in a band.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now it's like, oh, yeah, I got a band. It's like, well, yeah, me and my brother got a band, too, and, you know, me and my mother got a band, too, or
right.
You know, whatever the case may be.
Right. And you could be a one-man band, too, and do everything, wouldn't you?
That's true. There are some of those, you know, for sure, where one guy will record everything and hire guys to play out live. That used to be a very oddity, you know, and I guess now it's not so rare.
Well, you know, the oddity that I have, and I've been interviewing bands here for the past 10 plus years, at least, you know, on the current side of things. But the oddity I have, and I'm an older guy too, and it's like, you know, back in the day when you created a band, it typically was friends that you knew. It might have been from high school, something maybe from college, some kind of interaction. And now, like you had even said, how you got Eric, you're going on social media, finding your members of the band, and then getting them to come together.
Right.
Which is just odd to me still. I mean, even though it's, you know, now that's kind of the way it works.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it just kind of broadens your talent base.
Absolutely. Hey, we're talking with Brent Deadly Smedley. Of course, he's the drummer, also the founder of the band Out of Darkness. And let's talk about the album Seize the Day. It actually came out here in March, and now with the pandemic starting to be kind of in our rearview mirror, it's going to give lots of artists an opportunity now to get out and perform. And I got to believe you want to get out and perform this new album too, don't you?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Let's talk about the album a little bit.
Okay.
Let's break it down, I guess. And, you know, I haven't had a chance to listen to all of it, but I've heard some of the tracks and stuff. And as you mentioned, Eric doing the I Surrender, which I believe is a Celine Dion song, isn't it?
It sure is.
Yeah. How did that all come about, I guess, like you said?
Well, that was the track that really kind of cued me to, like, hey, this guy can really sing, man. My manager, Rich, played it for me, and he's like, you need to check this guy out. I think I might have found our guy. I did not realize it was a cover tune at first. I was like, oh, man, it's a really cool tune and this and that. And until much later, I think Eric might have told me, he's like, it's a cover tune. It's like, I've heard the original version. It's a really good song.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of metalized it, you would never know from us playing it, unless you were told, I guess, unless you're a big Celine Dion fan, I guess.
All right. Well, yeah, there might be some Celine Dion fans in the metal industry. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, good music's good music, regardless, I guess, of what style it may be.
Absolutely. So, give us the kind of the nuts and bolts of this album, because it does have it's not just one simple same sound. You do have a mixture of sound in it, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. There's some very heavy songs in there that have even some kind of growly, harsh singing is what I call it.
Mm-hmm.
There's the title track, Seize the Day. There's a song called Control. There's a song called Oh My. Those three are kind of similar, I guess, and there are heavier songs. They've got some dynamics to them as well, but they've got some of the rough singing in them. And then there's a ballad, which I actually co-wrote, Freedom to Be Free. That's probably the mellowest song on the record. I Surrender, that's got some dynamics to it as well. And then there's Think Again, which is the one that you're playing, which I really appreciate that. That's probably our most commercial tune. It's our shortest song. It kind of really gets to the point, I guess. So the album's pretty diversified, I think, for a short record. It's got a lot of different sounds to it. one thing that gives us some variety too is Eric. His voice, he can kind of sing like a few different ways. Like some singers have their singing voice, and it might be great, but that's pretty much what they have.
Mm-hmm.
Eric can sing, clean. He can sing rough. He can sing high. He can sing low, and he uses that in the different songs. So I really like that. It gives us a lot of dynamics and diversity, I think.
With the song "Think Again," as you chose that to go to radio, do you felt it was the most radio friendly? I guess, or because the industry, I guess, in radio back in the day was kind of like, anything heavy and hard we don't want. That's changed here in the last maybe 5 years or so. I guess, what was your take for that song? And even talking about the radio industry now, how it seems like metal music is definitely being more, I guess, allowed on the radio than it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was the record company's decision to use that song. I don't know if it was. I'm sure part of it was the sound of it. Maybe it was the length of it too. It's a very short song.
Mm-hmm.
I think it comes in right at under 3 minutes. I think it's just got kind of a hooky riff to it, and the chorus is pretty catchy. And I like it. One of the reasons it's very positive lyric content rather. It's basically about suicide prevention.
Right. And let's talk about that a little bit, especially with the pandemic that's happened. Mental health for people mental health has always been an issue, but I think it's now even come to the forefront even more with what we've had to endure here the last 16 months or so. And in the industry, obviously, you've been in it for a long time. You've seen a lot of the mental health sides of it. What do you, I guess, look at moving forward here with just society in the mental health side of things?
That's a loaded question.
I know.
There's always been, I think, mental health issues for sure, and the more complicated society gets, I think the more of that there's going to be. I think one thing actually that causes a lot of depression and stress is the art of comparison.
Mm-hmm.
People compare their lives to so-and-so that might be on Facebook or might be on Instagram, and, people are like, I need to, I guess keep up with the Joneses, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
This guy's out doing this on his boat or whatever, I guess I need to get a boat, or, this guy's got this new car or whatever, going on these trips all over the world. So I think there's that issue. I think with everybody distancing for a while and staying home, it's enough to drive anybody crazy.
Right.
Going stir crazy. But I think there's always been those issues. I think that we, and maybe they're more nowadays, but I think people are more aware of them now. I remember my grandfather telling me, he's like, when we were growing up, there was no such thing as a psychiatrist. There was no such thing as a pill for depression. You basically talked to your family and you dealt with it within.
Right. I agree with you 100% on that. Yeah, what you're saying. And even personally, I guess I have twin daughters, so they're always getting compared. And they're totally two different people. So I totally agree with you on that when it comes to the comparison thing, which causes, I think, a lot of the mental anguish that people do have.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're talking with Brent Deadly Smedley. The band is called Out of Darkness. The album is Seize the Day, and their latest song on our airwaves is called Think Again. We've been talking about the pandemic a little bit, and now it looks like the music industry is just kind of going to burst open here. It's already slowly starting to, but boy, this summer there's festivals, all the concerts are getting lined up and all that kind of stuff. I guess, what do you see here in the next maybe 6 months when it comes to the music world and how they're going to be able to kind of navigate through this now, since everybody has been kind of bent up, locked up for the last 16 months?
Well, I think you basically said it. Everybody's going to start playing live. People have been putting records out and doing live streams and stuff like that. But, now the shows are coming back. We've done 10 shows since our record came out, but they've all been in Florida. because Florida's been one of the most open states. I
Right.
think quicker than some other places. Now we've got shows coming up in Texas, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, New York, so we're branching out quite a bit. And I think with what's happening with the music business is that a lot of bigger shows are happening now. You know, there have been some club shows, but I guess there haven't been a whole lot of arena shows yet, at least not full capacity shows. So there seems to be some of those and stadium shows and, you know, the 3-day, 4-day festivals and stuff like that.
What's your take, I guess, you know, there's been some stories out there of, I don't know if it's exploiting things, but, you know, like, hey, if you get a vaccination, you can get in for $20, but if you didn't, it's going to cost you $1,000. I mean, just goofy things like that. I mean, that's, how do you think things are going to finally settle themselves down and kind of get back to normal?
That's a good question. I mean, we've got a really good governor down here.
Yeah, you do.
He's like, I heard something or read something the other day about people going on cruise ships, something about they weren't allowing you unless you were vaccinated or something.
Right.
And I think he signed something to where anytime a company does that, they're fined $5,000. You can't ask anybody if they're vaccinated or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm hoping that a lot of people kind of follow that example or whatnot. And, you know, I'm hoping it just kind of, maybe it's wishful thinking, but I just want it to go away.
Yeah.
You know, it's been so long and it's been back and forth. And, I mean, some of the stuff is just ridiculous. You got to wear a mask to walk into a restaurant.
Right.
But then you take it off.
Yeah.
You get up to the bathroom or go do whatever. You don't need to put it back on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so for that instant where you're walking in, I guess you might not catch some disease, but then you're just sitting around and you're right by everybody.
My favorite was up here is, you know, the bar closing time had to be at 10 o'clock, you know, so like, you know, at 10:01, if you're still in the bar, you're probably going to get COVID.
Yeah, and they were very selective. That's one thing. You mentioned that. It reminded me of the places that shut down. You know, I think Walmart and, you know, whatever, Target and whatever, they were all still open. But, yeah, the bars and the restaurants, you know.
You were the guy that probably had all the toilet paper stocked up back in a year ago, right? I mean,
no, not me.
No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, and the other thing, too, is I'm surprised you didn't have 360 million people heading to Florida, because that was one of the few states that actually was like, hey, let's just keep things normal and we'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, there's always people flocking here, you know, anyway, but It does seem like it has picked up some.
Absolutely.
As far as people migrating here.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, they want to be there for the heat, I guess, all the time, because, you know, they don't want 20, 30 below, you know, in January, February like we get.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do that, man.
Well, I know
I've been on tour.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
I've been on tour in Canada in the winter. That was my first experience with the real cold. I mean, other than when I was growing up, my grandparents lived in Virginia, and it was kind of novel to go up there and see snow. But after touring in Canada, even just for a couple weeks in the winter,
right.
I mean, I think I was cold for months after that tour. It took me a while to de-thaw.
That's why all the rock bands in Canada come south then, right, to play in the States to warm up.
Yep.
Hey, let's talk a little bit more about Out of Darkness. I guess we've been talking about tours and that, so that is the next thing on the agenda, I would assume, for your band. Do you have anything yet set in stone, what you're going to be doing in the next 6 months touring, or not yet?
Yeah, we've got some scattered dates, and we're looking to fill them in right now. You know, we've got a date in Texas, a date in Pittsburgh, New York, and West Virginia. And we're filling in around those to string a small tour together.
Nice, nice. Well, we're going to have to get you up here sometime, too. That'd be great.
Yeah, most definitely, man.
We'd love that. Hey, now we got to get going here, but I guess if more people want more information about the band Out of Darkness, how can they get that?
outofdarkness.live. That'll get you wherever you need to go. We've got a Facebook, we've got a YouTube, an Instagram, a Twitter, but the main one is www.outofdarkness.live. That'll get you to any of our sites. That'll get you to our merchandise, our CDs, any of that kind of stuff.
Awesome. And do you think you're going to release any other songs off this album, or are you going to start digging into a new album?
I think we're gonna pick this one apart a little bit more.
Okay.
I think we may release another song or two from it. We're going to go record at the end of July, but just one new song. So we're currently writing the songs and whatnot for the next record. It's not going to be too long, but it'll be a little bit longer. We're going to pound this one and work it a little bit more.
Awesome. Hey, enjoy the nice summer weather, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see you sometime soon in the near future, Brent, okay?
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, man.
Once again, that is the drummer and also the founder of the new band, Out of Darkness. That is Brent Deadly Smedley, and we're going to play their latest song right now. It's called Think Again. It's on The Dark. It's on 90.